Hello folks, this is shintigercurl, that dude in the straw hat, presenting you with another wrestling review. I'm of course joined by my faithful cohort and lackey, Joe. Say hi, Joe. He's excited for Christmas. Anyway, it's Monday night, so you know what that means. It's time for some Monday Night Raw. And, hold on here. Let me just pull up my notes. Okay, so it's time for some Monday Night Raw, and we open Monday Night Raw with CM Punk and Jerry the King Lawler. Conspicuous with his absence is Michael Cole. The ring announcer announces that the ring announcer announces the arrival of the still world WWE champion, The Miz. Miz comes out and he really was good at rubbing it in everyone's faces that he is still world champion despite how he won, which I liked. And then begins like a little segment called a Miz Carol, a Miz Carol as I like to call it, Miz. So out comes, there's some thunder and lightning effects, and people are starting to think the Undertaker's coming back or whatever. At least I am. So, it turns out it's Alex Riley dressed like the ghost of Christmas past. At least I think it is. He's just got chains and shit covered on him. And he's telling him, Miz, you should change your ways if you want to be a great champion. And they played replays of his first title defense against Jerry the King Lawler. Miz goes out to say that he won by any means necessary. Next up was, of course, Michael Cole, being the whore that we know he is, coming out dressed as, I don't know what the fuck he was going for, but he, of course, says that The Miz should think he's the ghost of Christmas present, and The Miz should not have won the WWE title the way he did against Randy Orton, which they replayed that. Miz says that he did it and he'll do it and keep doing it anyway. And later then appears on the screen the Miz Girl. Everyone who knows about the Miz's win knows about the Miz Girl. And they were doing the classic Conan O'Brien mouth thing saying, "Hey, you never beat John Morrison." And he's like disagreeing and saying that he's not going to do it and blah blah blah. So out comes John Morrison. And of course we're having a reunion between these two since they were both former World Tag Team Champions. And John Morrison says he's beat him in the past, he's beat him in the present, and he'll beat him in the future. Then Alex Riley's dumbass gets in the way, and Morrison lays him out. Miz scurries out of the ring, and while Morrison is beating up on A-Rye, King Lobsterhead comes out and starts beating on Morrison's bad leg, which was the result from that hellacious ladder match. Meanwhile, outside of the ring, Alex Riley is getting in Jerry the King Lawler's face, and Lawler lays him out with a right hand. There is chaos going out at the ring. And then the anonymous GM says that for tonight, Miz will be facing off against his past, present, and future, as in a 6-man tag with himself, Alex Riley, and King Fella, Sheamus, versus Randy Orton, Jerry the King Lawler, and John Morrison. It's going to be on for tonight. Let's move on, shall we? Waiting for my notes to load. Let's see. What's it? I'm trying to look through my notes here, and my notes are frozen. So I'll try to remember as best I can. The next matchup was between, I believe it was Daniel Bryan versus William Regal. Now this is a very interesting matchup because, as everyone knows, William Regal was one of the people who trained Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, whichever one you prefer, but who trained him. So it was very interesting to see a student and teacher face off against one another, and you could actually see that William Regal was actually proud of him. You could actually see that he was a different demeanor tonight. He was still the same hard-nosed, rough-fighting Liverpool from the bad side of Liverpool, England that we all know, but he had a different slant about him tonight. So it was enjoyable to watch these two go at it. It was a dream matchup. This isn't the first time Bryan and Regal have hooked up. So they wrestle. It's a very interesting match. Very interesting, very mat-based, very technical. And you can clearly see that William Regal knows Bryan inside and out. The end comes when Regal goes for the Regal stretch, but Danielson turns it over and turns it into a label lock, which Regal immediately taps out. Bryan wins. After Regal gives him a slight sign of respect, just saying, "Hey, what's up? That was a good match." And then the Bellas both lock lips with Mr. Bryan. But here's the thing I noticed mostly about this. Michael Cole was ragging on him, saying, "I don't understand women. How do they go for him?" Well, that's because you suck, Cole. You're a bigger geek than Daniel Bryan. At least he's got two bitches on his side, two twins. Do the math. Oh, that's right, Cole. You like sucking. You like having three-ways with Alex Riley and The Miz. Of course, you don't understand women. Women don't. You like men. So anyway, backstage we have a conversation between John Morrison and Randy Orton, and it's very awkward is the word I'm looking for. Just awkward. Next match, intergender match between Santino Marella and his girlfriend Tamila versus Ted DiBiase and Marlise. I'm sorry. And you already know this is gonna suck for Ted Jr. Ever since he lost his $1 million. Well, he's just been bland, and he's just been on a consistent losing streak. It's bad enough when you're considered an underdog when fighting Santino Marella, the joke wrestler. So Santino, towards the end of the match, Santino goes for the Cobra to give to Ted Jr. When Malise gets in the ring, he prepares to use the Cobra, but he didn't want to use it against a woman. He's like, "No, don't do it. No." Then Malise turns it around, slaps it in his throat, gives him the Cobra himself. Then Tamila jumps in the ring, gives a nice kick to Marlise, and paying homage to her father, the legendary Superfly Jimmy Snuka, she prepares to do a Superfly splash. And I have to say, either she is not used to, never done it before, or something, because she took a long ass time to climb the ropes and jump off. I mean, Superfly, even when he was wrestling at WrestleMania 25, he got up on, he was able to move around at least better than that. And anyway, Tamila hits the Superfly smash, 1, 2, 3. Ted Jr.'s losing aura rubs off on Marlise. Shame too, she's just a beautiful lady. Anyway, moving on. Sorry if this is taking so long. Next up, John Cena comes out to expound upon his victory, his total and complete victory over the Nexus. A total burial of an entire group. I mean, Nexus just got soloed by one man. Now, mind you, that man is Super Saiyan Jesus Cena, but still, one man. That doesn't do credit to the most feared group in WWE history. So he's talking and he's having some fun and has some fun with the crowd. They're still in Texas tonight and did the Deep in the Heart of Texas song that all Texans are required to sing. I should know, I've done it before. When Vicky Guerrero and Dolph Ziggler come out, and say what you want about Vicky Guerrero. That woman can draw some heat. I mean, you could deep fry catfish in the heat that she was generating. And Cena was playing up to it. He was just feeding that heat. It was just so intense. Even Nexus, when they were at the height of their power, they never got heat that fucking hot. I don't know what. Maybe it's the fact that her voice is just so grating or whatever. But Vicky Guerrero is one of the most prolific heat generators in all of professional wrestling. Probably second only to Kevin Steen. That sick fuck. So anyway, she tries to go on about how Dolph Ziggler won his match last night at TLC, but she can't barely get a word out because the crowd is utterly booing her. And then she gets into it with King, and King actually gets into a battle of the dozens with Cena, and they're just saying how fat she is and crap like that. Then the Raw GM makes a match between Ziggler and Cena. Now this is a very competitive matchup. Ziggler is a very good in-ring competitor, as his matches with Daniel Bryan showed. So, but in the end, even he couldn't withstand the power that is Super Saiyan Jesus Cena. He goes down 1, 2, 3. Then all of a sudden, CM Punk gets up from behind the podium and attacks Cena with a chair before calmly walking off. Cena, of course, completely no-sells this attack because, as everyone knows, in the IWC, the only thing John Cena can sell is merch. So they go outside, and as CM Punk prepares to drive off, he says that he's only giving Cena a taste of what he does. Only giving him a taste of what he truly deserved. And I gotta say he was acting kind of heelish. So there's that. Let's see. Later on, Vicky decides that tomorrow night is going to be a handicap match since SmackDown is on tomorrow, and she's the official consultant. How that gives her any power, I don't know. But she says that tomorrow night is going to be a handicap match between John Cena, Ziggles, and herself. I don't like how this is going to go. I sense a lot of burial is going to happen. But also, this doesn't look good for Punk, as this pretty much means he's going to get buried by Cena. And it also ends his prestigious color commentator career, and everyone loved him on color commentator. He got cheers from the fans. Even though he was a heel, fans just loved hearing Punk talk on the mic. He was just gold as a commentator. I hope you know what you're doing, Punk. Alright, moving on. Let's see. Alright, next we move on to the main event, surprisingly enough. The six-man tag. It was a pretty decent affair. Everyone got their little moves in. Alex Riley seemed completely out of place with all these former champions and all these men who've had gold and titles. I mean, but Jerry King Lawler is a former NWA champion and a whole bunch of other accolades. John Morrison's a former ECW champion, former multi-time tag champion, multi-time Intercontinental champion, future world champion, maybe. Randy Orton, well, you already know Randy Orton's story. Then you got The Miz, and then you got Sheamus, who's been getting up there in terms of being pushed, and Alex Riley just looked out of place. I don't know what they're gonna do with him, but they better do something with him, other than just being Mrs. Lackey. So we move on to the end comes as there's chaos all over the ring. Randy goes to try to do his RKO on Miz, but I think somebody stops him. I can't remember who. Then the King gets in the ring. He takes off his straps, and you know what that means, pile driver. But the Miz reverses it. Prepares to do the skull crushing finale when Randy prepares to rape Randy was able to rape, knocked out, owned of the Miz. Then Jerry King Lawler gets the 1-2-3 on the Miz. It's a pretty damn big win to get over on the champion. So the Raw GM chimes in, and he says that since Vicky Guerrero was making matches, he might as well make a match. And his match will be Randy Orton versus versus the Miz, 1-on-1, one more time. And so we fade to black, and that's Raw. The beginning of WWE Week on the USA Network. My overall thoughts were, it felt bizarre in places. I mean, there was some great matches. The Regal Bryan match was worth watching just to see those two go. That was a dream match for me. Ted Jr. continues his slide to a dead career, and surprisingly, John Cena has been acting surprisingly heelish in this. I don't know why. Maybe he's trying. And I don't know. He's just acting very heelish, doing things. What do you think, Joe? Joe thinks he was acting heelish too. I mean, as much as they were putting fat jokes on Vicky Guerrero, she looks pretty good compared to how she used to look back when she was really fat. She looks hella fine now. So I'm just saying. I mean, Cena, why are you being such a dick? And I agree and I love that Punk hit Cena with the chair, but of course Cena doesn't sell it, and this is just setting up Punk to be buried by Cena. It's like John Cena took Triple H's burial powers and are now employing them for his own use. So that was Monday Night Raw. It was overall a good show. I expected a little bit better, but it was watchable. And also note, again, tonight on Ring of Honor, they had a 8-man gauntlet match for $10,000, and I will give kudos to the American Wolf, Davey Richards, who in that gauntlet match took out not only Christopher Daniels, the television champion, who is one of the best wrestlers alive today, comparable to AJ Styles, but he also took out both members of the Kings of Wrestling, Claudio Castagnoli and Chris Hero, back to back to back. I mean, that is an amazing feat. I mean, they're going to do something with Richards. I mean, he's got to have a rematch with friggin' Roderick Strong and Truth Martini. I fucking hate Truth Martini. That guy makes me want to slap him with this. You know, when I bring out the fucking remote, you mean you know I'm serious. So anyway, kudos to Davey Richards. I hope you have a bright future ahead of you, and I want to see more of what this kid can do. I'm just being exposed to Davey Richards. A lot of people say he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. I'm starting to agree with them. So, and if you haven't watched Final Battle yet, stop watching this video. Go look it up online. Generico Steen. Fucking sick match. So, this is shintigercurl, that dude in the straw hat, and Joe bidding you a goodbye and laters. Say goodbye, Joe.